From a very young age, I always felt a peculiar distance when it came to forming connections with boys or men. No matter how hard I tried to bridge the gap, there was always a sense of emptiness, as though something essential was missing. At the time, I couldn't quite put my finger on it. I didn't fully understand why, but reflecting on it now, I realized that much of it stemmed from an inward focus. I was more concerned with understanding myself, my feelings, my thoughts, and most importantly, my body than with making an effort to truly understand others. As a child, I spent countless hours in quiet contemplation, tuning into my body's subtle signals. Over time, I discovered small, seemingly magical ways to make myself feel happy and at ease. It felt as though I had stumbled upon a secret treasure, one that was entirely my own. This discovery brought me a sense of control over my emotions and well-being. I didn't need anyone else to create that feeling for me. I could do it all on my own, whenever I wanted. It became a private ritual, a way to find comfort and joy that didn't rely on anyone else's approval or involvement. As I grew older, this sense of self-awareness deepened. I began to understand what made me feel excited, peaceful, or calm. It was empowering in a way, knowing that I could take care of my emotional needs without leaning on others. Yet, despite this newfound independence, I kept my discoveries to myself. Even my closest friends remained unaware. This wasn't because of shame or fear, but because it felt deeply personal, like a sacred part of me that didn't need to be shared. It was my own little sanctuary, one that brought me peace in an unpredictable world. For years, this secret was enough. I felt content, or so I thought. It was only later that I began to sense that something was missing. A deeper understanding of connection, both with myself and with others. The realization didn't come all at once, but gradually, as life unfolded in ways I couldn't have anticipated. One summer, during a school holiday, I decided to visit my aunt who lived in a distant town. The trip felt like an escape from the monotony of my usual routine, a chance to explore a new place and spend time with someone I deeply admired. My aunt was a warm and loving presence in my life, always making me feel welcome and cherished. But there was also something enigmatic about her, something I couldn't quite define. People often spoke of her confidence, particularly in the way she navigated relationships. She had a natural ease when talking to anyone, whether they were men or women. Her conversations flowed effortlessly, and she exuded a quiet self-assurance that drew people to her. It wasn't just her words, but the way she carried herself, a blend of grace and strength that made her presence magnetic. Watching her, I felt a mixture of admiration and curiosity. How did she achieve such poise? What was her secret to exuding such unwavering confidence? When I arrived at her house, she greeted me with her characteristic warmth, enveloping me in a hug that made me feel instantly at home. Her affection and hospitality put me at ease. But as the days passed, I began to notice subtleties about her that intrigued me even more. Her laughter was genuine, her words were thoughtful, and her demeanor conveyed an inner peace I longed to understand. She seemed unburdened by the doubts and insecurities that often plagued me. I found myself observing her closely, trying to decipher what set her apart. One afternoon, as we sat in her cozy living room, she initiated a conversation that would change the way I saw myself. "You know, my dear," she began, her tone gentle yet purposeful, "there's something very powerful about learning to take control of your own happiness." Her words lingered in the air, and I felt a mix of curiosity and unease. What did she mean by taking control of happiness? I had always thought happiness was something that happened to you, not something you actively shaped. She continued, her gaze steady and filled with warmth. "There's nothing wrong with exploring what brings you joy and understanding your own body. It's a journey we all take in different ways. But sometimes, it's also worth exploring how connections with others can bring a different kind of fulfillment." Her words struck a chord deep within me. They felt both affirming and challenging, as though she was gently encouraging me to look beyond the boundaries I had set for myself. I sat in silence, absorbing her message. It was as if she had opened a door I hadn't realized was there, inviting me to step into a new realm of understanding. Over the following days, our conversations grew more profound. My aunt shared her own experiences, speaking candidly about the complexities of relationships, intimacy, and self-discovery. She didn't shy away from the difficult topics, and her honesty was both comforting and inspiring. Through her stories, I began to see that self-awareness and connection were not mutually exclusive. In fact, they could complement each other in ways I had never considered. Her insights planted seeds of thought that continued to grow long after my visit ended. I began to reflect more deeply on what it meant to truly connect, not just with others but also with the parts of myself I had kept hidden. My aunt's confidence and openness became a source of inspiration, guiding me as I navigated my own journey toward understanding and embracing the complexities of life and relationships. Looking back, that summer with my aunt marked a turning point. It was a time of awakening, of stepping beyond the familiar and into the unknown. It taught me that while self-reliance is valuable, there is also profound beauty in sharing, connecting, and allowing others to enrich your life in unexpected ways. The lessons I learned in that small, sunlit town have stayed with me, shaping the person I am today, and reminding me that growth often begins where comfort ends. Conversations like these were never my strong suit. I often avoided them, unsure of how to navigate such topics. It felt awkward and unnatural, as though I were stepping into uncharted territory I wasn't ready for. But my aunt had a persistence about her, a gentle yet unwavering determination. No matter how artfully I tried to steer the discussion toward safer, more familiar ground, she always managed to guide it back with a subtle, almost seamless grace. One evening stands out vividly in my mind. She invited me to sit with her in the cozy warmth of her living room, offering a glass of wine as if to signal that this would be a moment for honest, unfiltered conversation. The atmosphere that night felt different, intimate yet unpressured. It was just the two of us, and there was a stillness in the air that told me she had something on her mind. I could see it in her calm, knowing gaze. She wasn't rushing me. She was simply creating a space where I could choose to engage if I felt ready. Her expression carried a quiet understanding, the kind that only comes from someone who has weathered their own storms and emerged with stories to tell. I felt a mixture of apprehension and curiosity. There was something about her presence that made me want to listen, even if I wasn't entirely sure I was ready to hear what she had to say. Her voice, soft yet steady, carried the weight of experience, and I could tell she wasn't here to lecture or judge me. She was here to share, to offer insights that she believed could help me find my own path. "You know," she began, her tone warm and inviting, "when I was younger, I went through so many experiences that shaped me. I was with different people, sometimes wonderful, sometimes not, but through it all, I learned so much about myself. Understanding what you want and what brings you joy isn't always easy, but it's so important." Her words landed softly, but they stirred something unfamiliar within me. I wasn't sure how to respond. These weren't the kinds of conversations I was used to having, especially not with someone as poised and self-assured as my aunt. To hear her speak so openly, so candidly, about her own life felt strange yet oddly comforting. It was as though she was offering me a glimpse into a side of herself I had never seen before. Over the next few days, her words lingered in my mind. They unsettled me, not in a negative way, but in a way that made me question things I had taken for granted about myself. Part of me felt uneasy, as though I were being asked to confront thoughts and feelings I had long avoided. Yet another part of me, a quieter, more curious part, felt drawn to her honesty. I couldn't deny that her openness was inspiring, even if it challenged me in ways I hadn't anticipated. One evening, after dinner, she brought up the subject again. This time, I found myself more receptive. I could see that she wasn't pushing me to agree with her or adopt her views. Instead, she was inviting me to think deeply about my own experiences and desires. She shared stories about her past, not just the glamorous or exciting moments but also the quieter, more introspective ones. She spoke about learning to enjoy her own company, understanding her boundaries, and finding fulfillment in ways that had nothing to do with external validation. It wasn't an easy conversation, but it was a meaningful one. My aunt's stories weren't just anecdotes. They were lessons wrapped in vulnerability. She wasn't trying to impose her beliefs on me, Rather, she was encouraging me to explore my own truths, to figure out what made me happy and fulfilled. As the days passed, I began to see the wisdom in her words. She was right. Understanding yourself is the cornerstone of any meaningful connection, whether it's with others or with yourself. For so long, I had been focused on what others thought of me, on whether I was meeting their expectations. My aunt's perspective helped me realize that true happiness starts with self-awareness and self-acceptance. One night, as we were winding down from a day filled with laughter and deep conversations, she invited me to share her bed. It wasn't just an offer of physical closeness. It was a gesture of trust and connection. First, I hesitated. The idea felt unfamiliar, almost too intimate. But her gentle smile and reassuring presence put me at ease. She had a way of making even the simplest moments feel significant. As we lay there, the room bathed in the soft glow of the bedside lamp, our conversation drifted into lighter topics: childhood memories, family stories, and dreams for the future. There was a warmth between us, an unspoken understanding that made me feel safe and valued. It wasn't just about the words we exchanged. It was about the bond we were strengthening, the sense of belonging that came from knowing someone truly cared. That night, as I drifted off to sleep, I felt a deep sense of gratitude. My aunt had given me more than just advice. She had given me the gift of self-discovery. She had shown me that it's okay to ask questions, to explore my feelings, and to take my time in understanding who I am. She had reminded me that I am enough, just as I am, and that my journey toward self-awareness is uniquely my own. The time I spent with her was transformative. It wasn't about becoming someone different. It was about embracing who I already was and learning to trust myself. Her wisdom, her patience, and her love had opened a door I didn't even realize was closed. And for that, I will always be grateful. Thank you for taking the time to watch my videos, and especially subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos. My channel will always update interesting content. Thank you and see you in the next videos.